Sony just dropped its newest flagship ANC headphones, the WH-1000XM6. But if the price tag on this premium set of cans makes you flinch, there's also the more affordable Sony ULT WEAR. At first glance, they look pretty similar and even offer some of the same features, but in the end, these two pairs of headphones couldn't be more different. So let's break it all down and help figure out which pair is right for you. Starting with the design, Sony has made several meaningful improvements with the XM6. Unlike the XM5s, they fold again, which many of you will be happy to see. The case also feels sturdier, and you don't need to dive into the app to get great performance. That said, while they're comfortable for longer listening sessions, take a look at this protruding ANC mic. It might literally rub a few ears the wrong way. You might also be interested to know that Sony has finally reinforced the folding hinges with a bit of metal. Ow! Right here. This is where past models have had a habit of cracking, and it's a smart move. It feels more solid, but let's be honest, we'll have to see how it holds up in the long run. The ULT WEAR also features a very usable and commuter-friendly design. It folds and swivels, includes a travel case, and offers ANC with similar touch controls. However, the ear pads on the ULT WEAR are much thicker and roomier compared to the ear pads on the XM6, which is ideal for those with bigger ears. That said, I do find they tend to trap heat if you're out and about with these headphones on a hot summer day. In the end, both the XM6 and the ULT WEAR are comfortable and built for life on the move, but the ULT WEAR pulls ahead just slightly with noticeably thicker padding in the headband and the ear cups. When it comes to features, the WH-1000XM6s are nearly fully loaded, as you'd expect from a flagship set of headphones. You get the same Sony Sound Connect app with a 10-band EQ, 360 reality audio, DSEE Extreme, speak to chat, and even head gesture controls. Most of this carries over from the XM5, but the one notable addition is Sony's new stereo upmixing for spatial audio. Basically their answer to Apple's spatialized stereo, which is great if you like spatial audio because it can create the illusion of 3D space, but it feels like a neat gimmick, rather than a must-have. Personally, not something I'm going to be using, but it's there if you want it. Still, for all the bells and whistles, there's still one glaring omission: no USB-C audio. It's 2025, Sony. You've nailed the hard stuff, so why skip the easy? The ULT WEAR? It covers the essentials. It uses that same app, but you only get a 5-band EQ. However, you still get 360 reality audio and basic ANC controls, but that's about it. The standout feature, of course, is the Alt button, which cranks the bass to 11 and delivers some serious skull-rattling sub-bass. It's essentially a rebrand of Sony's old extra bass lineup. If you're into that kind of low-end oomph, it's a blast. But if not, it can get old fast and you'll probably be reaching for that EQ pretty quickly, maybe even before you can say WH-1000XM6. In terms of connectivity, the XM6 runs on Bluetooth 5.3, while the ULT WEAR, being about a year old now, still uses 5.2. Both support SBC, AAC, and LDAC, but the XM6 pulls ahead slightly with LC3 and LE audio on board, so it's technically Auracast ready, assuming that ever becomes useful. You still get multi-point and a 3.5mm jack on both, which is nice, but once again, no USB-C audio. It's 2025 and we're still pretending that's not a thing. Okay, I'll let it go for now. All right, on to battery life. In our lab tests, the WH-1000XM6 lasted 37 hours and 14 minutes with ANC on. That's top tier endurance, more than enough even if you're a frequent international flyer. The ULT WEAR? They ain't no slouch though, pulling an impressive 32 hours and 35 minutes in the same test. Both also support quick charging. The XM6 gives you 3 hours of playback from just a 3-minute top-up, while the ULT WEAR delivers 5 hours from a 10-minute charge. No complaints there. Now, if you're planning to take calls on the go or use your new over-ears for online meetings, here's what you need to know. Both headphones use beam-forming microphones, but the WH-1000XM6 pulls ahead with AI-powered voice isolation that actually works. It cuts through wind, traffic, and general background noise surprisingly well, making it one of the better options out there for mobile calls. The ULT WEAR? It's fine in a quiet room, but once you step outside, wind and background chatter start to leak in. It'll get the job done, but if you take a lot of calls on the go or you're in the office often, the XM6 is the clear winner. Of course, if you want to hear the difference for yourself, I do highly recommend you check out our full review on SoundGuys.com. We've recorded mic samples in a variety of real-world environments with both sets of headphones, so you can decide which one sounds better to your ears. On to noise canceling, and this is where the XM6 really flexes. It offers some of the best ANC performance Sony has delivered so far, largely thanks to its excellent passive isolation. With a proper seal, the ear cups physically block out a high level of external noise, giving the ANC system room to work, especially in the sub 1 kHz range. This is often where low-end rumble from traffic or engines usually creep in. In our testing, the XM6 attenuated about 87% of outside noise, improving on the XM5's already strong average of 84%. That said, again, honestly, the ULT WEAR still holds its own. It cuts over 25 dB of noise above 80 Hz and can reduce the loudness of outside noises by an average of 84%, similar to what the XM5s provide. Ultimately, it's more than enough for everyday commuting, office use, or casual flights. It's not quite flagship tier, but it will undoubtedly get the job done, and for the price, there's little to complain about. Okay, sound quality. So here's where things start to split. After running the XM6 through our lab, we can safely say it's Sony's best sounding XM series headphones so far. Yeah, really. There's not much to complain about when it comes to sound quality. The frequency response shows a slight boost in the lows, a bit more than what our house curve calls for, but it's restrained compared to the XM5, and especially compared to the amount of low end that the ULT WEAR pushes out. There's also good clarity in the treble frequencies, allowing you to hear details like reverberated vocal tones, but it's not overemphasized to the point where other instruments like cymbals start to sound overpowering, which can get a little annoying after longer listening sessions. The ULT WEAR, on the other hand, is exactly what you'd expect from a bass-first headphone. Even without the ULT button engaged, the low end tends to take over your mix. Hit Alt 2 and the sub bass goes full cartoon mode. It's fun for bass heads, sure, but like I said, vocals and treble related details in the drummer's cymbal work. Sorry, I don't know why I was scratching my face there. But like I said, vocals and treble related details in the drummer's cymbal work get steamrolled and can be hard to distinguish in the mix. Now when it comes to our multi-dimensional audio quality scores, our virtual panel of listeners also back it up. The XM6 earns an overall score of 4.8 out of 5 in our MDAQS testing, well ahead of the ULT WEAR's 4, the score of 4. The ULT WEAR's score of 4. No surprises there. By this measure, most listeners will prefer the sound of the XM6 over the ULT WEAR. So, which pair of Sony headphones should you buy? Right off the bat, obviously we can't ignore the price difference. The WH-1000XM6 comes in at $449, more than twice the cost of the ULT WEAR. We can't forget they're a premium set of cans and priced accordingly. But you are getting Sony's best sound, best noise canceling, and a polished, feature-rich experience that's hard to beat. Sony ULT WEAR, on the other hand, just costs $199 and still punches above its weight. You get solid ANC, excellent battery life, and a customizable sound profile as long as you're willing to tame the bass in that EQ. Or maybe bass is exactly what you want. In that case, the decision's easy. To summarize, if you want class-leading performance with minimal compromise, go for the XM6. But if you're on a tighter budget and crave that deep, booming low end, the ULT WEAR offers serious value. Now, if you want to dive deeper into these two pairs of headphones, you're in luck because we've got full reviews on both the XM6 and the ULT WEAR. Just click the videos right here, boom, and here, bam, done. Happy listening. I said happy listening.